Fear is the enemy.
Brazier music box.
Whatever it is that you're going for, man, go hard. Hold on, never give up. You gotta have that mentality, man. I put in the work, I spent a lot of time on the waiting list. Never complained, I ain't never said shit. Shoot my shot, no fear if I miss. Imagine you chasing a dream that you love, only to find out it wasn't enough. You fall on your face, but you get right back up, and you fall back again, but you get right back up, yeah. That's the way that it's always been. Don't nobody care about the grind but you. Nobody putting in the time but you. Make up your mind who you wanna be. I know who I am, I know what I want. Live by 2 words, mama mentality. And that's word to my mom, word to my pops, word to my little bro. They said make your mistakes, but don't make excuses on why you can't live and learn. On a couple occasions I damn near went broke, chasing this music thing. And I ran out of hope, I threw in the towel, said fuck the hole in the street. I kept on writing and touring. I picked up a job cause I knew it was important. The money I made, I would stash it away just to fund my recordings. And I didn't wanna stop cause I didn't know how. I would lay in my room by myself late at night and I finally figured it out. I just wanna be the best version of me, make all the music that I wanna make. I don't care what nobody gon' say. You miss all of the shots you don't take. And the answer is no, if you don't ask. If it gets hard, this too shall pass. God is my witness and he got the plan. He got the plan. I put in the work, I spent a lot of time on the waiting list. Never complained, I ain't never said shit. Shoot my shot, no fear if I miss. Imagine you chasing a dream that you love, only to find out it wasn't enough. You fall on your face, but you get right back up, and you fall back again, but you get right back up, yeah. That's the way that it's always been. Don't nobody care about the grind but you. Nobody putting in the time but you. Make up your mind who you wanna be. I know who I am, I know what I want. Live by 2 words, mama mentality. Yeah. Remember, man, you only in competition with yourself. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy the process. Pleasure and pain. R.I.P. the greatest.
What up? What's going on, everybody? It is another version of Circle Talk. I want to thank all of my guests for being here today. I am really excited to have this conversation about the good and bad during the Christmas time. But before we get into that, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to just talk about something that happened to me today, and to a lot of us. I had a good friend of mine that I've known for 30 years hit me up and tell me one of my good friends passed on today. And Michelle Ferguson is someone that has a huge place in my heart. When I was going through the hardships of running away from home and did not have a place to go, Michelle gave me an opportunity in a place where I could be and be safe and know that I have a friend and somebody that's going to be there for me through all the good and bad times. And through that, we grew up and had such an amazing friendship. And obviously she is had a special place in my heart for a very, very long time. And I just hope and pray that her family and friends are here and working together to just love on one another and remember all the good times and how much of an amazing person she was. Literally, I got off of work about 6:30. At 6 o'clock, I got another text message from another one of my friends that an old crooner, a guy I met when I turned 24 years old, out in the streets singing karaoke. This man was one of the baddest singers in the streets, and When I met him, he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes and gave me all the tips and was literally one of the nicest people that I ever met. And that's not just something that I say about everyone, but this dude was one of the nicest people that I've ever met. And he would sing any song you can think of, from a rock song to some Darling Nikki from Prince. The brother could do it, and he did it so well. And I just want to give a huge shout out to Eddie Brazier. A lot of us know him. If you guys know anyone about anything about singers that throw down and dance, this man was 70 years old and he was dancing and singing his tail off. And I found out literally before I got off work that he passed today. So what I want to do is just take this moment to just have a moment, just a quick moment of silence for the two of them and the families that are affected by this loss today. So let's do that. Thank you guys so much. Right now, as you guys can see, I have a brother over here that is our guest for the day, and I'm thankful for you being here. Um, Author Robert Young's in the building.
What's
And
up, man?
hey, man, we here. You know what I'm saying? And when we had this conversation this morning, you wanted me to give you questions, and that was something that I wanted to do. But then all of this stuff happened today, and I knew that we had a conversation about your book and your books, I should say, and let's talk about you know let's talk about one of those books because one of your books talks about a loss in a
Mhm.
person's life. Let's talk about that. Share a little bit about it, the name, the title, how the whole plot, and how they can get if they want to read more into that particular book in itself.
All right, appreciate you having me, David. Uh,
Absolutely.
my book is called Cobwebbed Eyes. Initially, it was going to be called Who Killed My Baby's Mama,
Mm.
but my editor, or my publisher, my publisher is actually my editor as well. She felt that the title was too much
Mm.
uh, for an author that is only my second book. She was saying, if you have 5, 6 books out there, then that would be a different story. But she said, I think we should, you know, tone it down a bit. So I called it Cobwebbed Eyes.
Mm.
Um, but Cobwebbed Eyes, man, it deals with trauma and substance abuse
Mm.
and gang violence and police brutality and media propaganda.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes place in a town that I call Ridgetop, or excuse me, Kingston.
Okay.
And it takes place during the 90s. And it's about a brother who lost his, actually, he just got on his knees and he asked his girlfriend to marry him.
Mm.
And then the next day, she relapsed on drugs.
Mm.
And the person that she relapsed with, her dope dealer, he ended up killing her. Not only did he kill her, he kidnapped their daughter as well. The
Wow.
police came after this young man, blaming him for the murder and blaming him for the kidnapping of his daughter. But before they had the opportunity to catch up with him and to arrest him, he went on the run because he knew they were looking for him. And so I tell the trials and the tribulations of a young African American male who is already, he's still gang banging, he's still, using drugs and things like that. And now he's on the run for a crime that he did not do. And so I tell the trials and tribulations of that. Um,
Yeah.
but the detriment of the story itself is um, really drug use and gang violence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you look at, or when you hear about a young brother, you never hear him talking about, or you never see in the media you talk about how much of a good father this young man is. This young man is. You never talk about. They never discuss what he's been through to get to the point where he actually uh, feels a need that he thinks he needs to change his life around for his child.
Mm-hmm.
They don't touch bases on that. Only thing they show you is the negative about the young brothers. And so what I wanted to do was I wanted to show, or what I think, or what I feel I did in this book, is I wanted to show a young black man who is struggling to do right and running the obstacles. But I also show that he is a good father, mentor, peer, trying to work hard and do right.
Yeah.
And I also show that within that, in the family, I also show that, there's trials and tribulations between a young couple, especially a young couple nowadays in the culture today. There's a lot of drug use going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I show how the detriment of using drugs will affect the family.
Yeah.
We all know how it affects the family. We see relatives and cousins and neighbors. We in the middle of the night, you might hear your neighbors out there arguing, fussing, and fighting, and then we wonder where the kids are.
Yeah.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Then
Yeah.
you might also hear about one of your other partners are trying to stop using drugs, but the other one continues to use. And so again, I try to show the best way I possibly could about how drugs and alcohol and gang violence will disrupt the family.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about something. Obviously, when I came up with the idea of us talking about loss
Mhm.
during this time, I asked you how you felt about just digging in and discussing the good and bad of a
Mhm.
Christmas time
Right.
and the levels. I mean, because most of us, have children or have
Mhm.
family that we are going to be meeting up with here in the next day or two.
Right.
Um, you know, how, in your opinion,
Mhm.
what is a method that we can use to deal with something like this,
Mhm.
within our in our homes,
Right.
like I was saying earlier, I lost two friends today. I was talking about last year, my good friend, obviously, shout out to Katie watching. Thank you for being here. But one of our best friends lost their son last year around this time. Going home after visiting family, decided he wanted to come and see his family one last time for the
Mhm.
weekend, and drove his car home and got in a car wreck and died. 18 years old, man.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
how do people cope dealing with the hardships of a loss during
Right.
the holidays? What would you say to that?
So I'm gonna tell you, like my mom told me, first and foremost, God takes the best ones first.
Mm,
Okay.
mm,
And as I grow in my relationship with Christ, I've learned exactly what that means. See, so after a person passes away, we can call upon their spirits to help us guide us through the trials and tribulations that we're going through.
mm,
So it's up to us to, while we're living down here on earth, we have to pull from above to help us deal and cope with our own realities.
mhm.
And so another thing that I always express to folks is, God provided us memorable moments and memories with those that have passed away.
Absolutely.
And then so just cherishing those positive moments that we've shared, um, keeping their hopes alive, and keeping the things that they've shared with you to help you get through tough times. You really turn to those moments where you talk to your relative, you talk to your friend, and they always have something positive to share with you because they're actually angels. And
Yes.
so I'm just keeping my heart with you, man. We can call upon our angels to help us down here on earth.
Hmm.
you know and this actually also segues right into the Manny Ellis situation.
Yeah.
Tacoma has come a long ways.
Right.
You're aware of this. Tacoma has come from gang banging to now hanging out with people that you would never have shared your personal space with today.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
you go to a karaoke joint or
Yep.
to a bar or what have you to play pool. You see Crips and Bloods, everybody kicking back, shaking hands, giving hugs and everything, man. It's a lovely thing. And I wanted to start off by saying how far Tacoma has gotten before I touch bases on we just need a little bit more from our community
Right.
as it pertains to, when we have situations like the Manny Ellis situation, we really have to turn out in full force.
Yeah.
Um, so with that being said, let's just give a shout out straight up to, I know they're friends of yours. Let's give a shout out to Tony Gray. Let's give a shout out to James Watson. Let's give a
Absolutely.
shout out to Candace Wesley.
Absolutely.
Ceasefire movement.
Absolutely.
They have gone above and beyond to get the voice out that, we're not going to give up on our community.
Right.
Miss Candace posted earlier today, she just said, I love my black men. I love our sons.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
I just, the civil rights was won, man, through the black church. And if we had, we did the rally yesterday. Well, not we, excuse me. I attended the rally yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It was up on 11th MLK. And Mr. Watson was there, Pastor Watson was there.
Yes.
But if we had every pastor, black, white, Korean, whatever nationality they are, if we had every pastor in a 10-mile radius of 11th Street show up, man, our voices would be heard a lot more.
Absolutely.
Tacoma's a little bit different. And like I said, we've come so far that I'm not going to sit here and bash Tacoma. But what I will say is that we need to call upon our elders a little bit more than what we have done in the past, because our elders are the ones that helped us through the treacherous civil rights and Jim Crow.
So let me ask you this. I'm right there with you. I grew up, born and raised on pretty much the hilltop myself. I've seen, I lived 70s, 80s. I'm not putting my age out there, but I've been around a long time, and I've seen some of the worst
changes
and some of the best changes that have come to our city.
Right.
Where did we go wrong? Like, why is this stuff continuing to be okay? Where are we going wrong in the system? You know what I'm saying? What can we do to fix it? Like, let's talk about it. I mean, since we're discussing it, what do you think? Where do you think we failed at? Where we dropped the ball?
Black leaders, brother. We need more black leaders like Candace and James Watson and Tony Gray, representing us. People that could speak for us and understand and speak our language. The Ebonics and things like that. They represent us. We need more of them. Okay, but when we were growing up, 70s, 80s, we had all kinds of different movements going on. We had all kinds of different black leaders. They've gone on. Some passed away, some haven't. We have to get back to that. Today, we're just too busy focusing on, Diddy, P. Diddy, and, R. Kelly, and the trials and tribulations that these folks are facing. And we're talking about, and we're too busy worried about, rap music and the young ladies that are now in the rap game, and some ladies in the rap game now are very raunchy, and we talk about what they're talking about and what they're disseminating to the community, to the culture.
Right.
Media propaganda, man, is one of the main topics in all my books, because I want to show folks that when you think about all of the media in the world, it's only ran by one or two people. Right. I mean, one or two people is running the entire world of media, the entire world, dude. And it amazes me how much today you got Google, you got social media, the answers to all the questions that we're talking about, they're out there. We just have to focus more so on what's happening in our own community, how we could get back to, I'm telling you, man, I really think if we get back to going to church, involving the black church in the social events and social environments, I think that we will see, justice, brother. I really think so. And, if like I was mentioning about Google, we can create our own laws. And all this information is out there.
Mm.
We can create our own laws. We can get laws on a book. We have to vote on them, of course, through the legislation and all that. But if we work together as a unit and bring the Black church back into this, I feel as if we can get somewhere. I really do. Because, like I said before, Black folks came out of the civil rights movement on a high road, doing well for ourselves.
Mm.
And as our parents were doing well for ourselves and providing for us, I think we lost a little bit in translation because everything was kind of like being given to us.
Mm.
Not on a pedestal, but it was, and not given to us because, some folks, a lot of us are still in poverty. But what I meant by a lot of things was given to us as far as they set the tone for us to, like I'll give you an example. My mom, man, Carolyn Von Young, okay?
Mm.
She's the person that brought multiculturalism to the West Coast.
Mm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so if we have, and then you have other leaders, founders of Evergreen, you have leaders of the Urban League, you have leaders at Al Davies. If we
Right.
can get back to promoting these leaders and bringing these leaders back into the conversation that we're having today, then I feel that we will honestly get somewhere. And you are a leader in our community. Candy's a leader in our community.
Mm-hmm.
I feel if you take the God-given abilities that God has given you, and you use those to bring positive change and to bring people, to Christ, then we can get back to the change.
This is such a hard subject for me, and the reason why it is because I'm not really trying to get too in depth on it, just because I want us to just understand that change is necessary.
Yeah.
And this has to stop at the end of the day. Like, we can't
Right.
continue to see our people killed
Can't.
by these people
Mhm.
that are in blue suits
Right.
that use their power for the wrong reasons.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
then they can't get away with it. Like, we have to figure
Right.
out what it is we need to do. If that
Mhm.
means we need to get our kind more involved, we have to do that. If that means we need to, have all the leaders that we know of and
Right.
are out here that are doing all these amazing things in
Mhm.
these schools and
Right.
these
Mhm.
public things that are going on in the public, whatever the case may be. If we need to get all of us together to
Right.
change the narrative and show them how important it is that we are respected, we have to do that.
Mhm.
But, like, it has to start. Like,
Has to.
we've been seeing this for
Right.
eons, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Only thing different from the 90s when they were doing it in the 90s and now is technology.
Exactly.
That's it.
Mhm. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
we got to change it.
Yeah.
And I'm totally with you 110%
Yeah.
when I'm about the leaders. If
Mhm.
there's anything that we can do to unite together, if there's any way we can have a conversation and figure
Mhm.
out exactly what it needs to be done so
Mhm.
that we get into that office, into that police station, and
Right.
have our presence felt, it needs to
Mhm.
happen, because
Yeah.
it's sad. It's truly
Very sad.
sad,
Yeah.
sad day for
Yeah.
our city and in our
It
country.
is. Yeah.
So
And and no, the cool part, I just also would just want to tell the Ellis family that we feel their pain, um, we understand what they're going through, and
absolutely.
we pray for them,
Yes.
uh, and we also need to pray for the jurors
Yeah.
because it was evident that the police officers were in the wrong because you had two police officers that had the same story. And then the third police officer had a whole different story. He was the one that said something about, well, anyway, he was one that said, he got the car and Manny jumped him, he tackled him, and Manny body slammed him and all this other stuff. And the other two guys said, we don't know nothing about that.
Yeah.
And they said this in court. But
Mhm.
the jurors still came back and said not guilty. So
Yeah.
So I know we need to educate the community, not only the African American community, but we need to educate everybody about what's going on. It's media propaganda at the fullest, and it's affecting everybody.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it affected those 12 folks, the media propaganda. That's what I'm trying to say. You
Mm-hmm.
see, it's affected them, and now it's affected our entire society.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It for me is it's really tough because I'm not a person, and I don't want this to sound bad, but a lot of
Mm,
people might look at me and question who I am as a person. But I'm a firm believer that I love everybody,
yeah.
and I love myself, and I love my kids, and I
Mm,
love you, and I love
mm,
everybody that I come into contact with. I'm all about love. I mean,
right.
and color isn't really my thing. Like I don't say it's got to be black or it's not happening.
Hmm.
It's got to be white or it's not
Yeah.
happening. I'm like, yo, how can we live in unity with
Hmm.
without feeling like if I go over here and hang out with these guys, I
Hmm.
might be in trouble because I'm not the same color as them. Or if I go over
Right.
and hang with these guys, they're gonna
Hmm.
look at me a certain type of way because I am the same color as
Hmm.
them. But
Hmm.
I've been hanging out with those guys over here.
Right. 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 Right.
We just
Hmm.
gotta.
Gotta
To
get
me,
past that.
I try to get totally away from that and just
Hmm.
figure out how can we just live together in unity.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, and that's just how I always try to look at life because
Yeah.
it's hard to say that I'm a man of God, but also say that black is best.
Hmm.
Black is beautiful. Yes, black is beautiful. White is beautiful. Purple is
Yeah.
beautiful. Green is purple.
Come
Magenta is
on.
beautiful. You
Right.
know,
Oh
the
yeah,
rainbow
definitely.
is beautiful. I
Right.
mean, which one is God truly leaning on? Is he
Mhm.
leaning on the fact that I'm a black man, so that means black men are beautiful? Or does that mean his people that he has created on this earth are beautiful?
Beautiful. Yeah.
So I think a lot of times I find myself trying to stay, you
Hmm.
know, on the rainbow of things instead
Hmm.
of, being so one-sided. And I guess, like it's just tough, bro. Like
Yeah.
and we can talk about this all day
Oh, I know.
long.
And this wasn't even on our agenda, brother. You already know. Yeah. You already know.
But hey, real talk, guys. I thank you
Hmm.
all so much for being here. If you guys have any questions for myself or Mr. Robert Young
Come
Jr.,
on.
ask him. Please ask away.
All right.
We're here for a conversation. Obviously, we're here to learn a little bit about this brother
Mhm.
and also learn a little bit about ourselves at the same time. And so let's get into it.
Mhm.
So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna rewind it back a little bit. Because you said I met you here, but I thought I met you there. And
Mhm.
so where did we originally meet at? Let's
Bro,
go
I don't know. I
because
don't even know.
I thought for
Uh,
sure that we met at the spot.
okay. Which
I thought we
spot?
met at the spot. Yeah, at the spot,
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
you said you knew me, and I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, I don't
Right.
remember ever
Yeah.
catching a ride or nothing.
Mhm.
you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
I got I got a working vehicle, so I know my
Mhm.
car it gets around
Yeah.
pretty good.
Right. Yeah.
So but you may have given my brother a ride, and
Probably.
that's how the conversation kind of came about.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you also, I think you even asked me about this.
I did. I
Yes.
did. Yeah. Mhm.
And so at the end of the day, like I'm just happy that we had the conversation.
Yeah. We
Um,
stumbled on. We stumbled up on each other like this, man.
exactly. And
Yeah.
now we're here,
Yeah.
and I'm learning a little bit about you. So
Mhm.
how about we do this, since we know a few of the same type of people and we ran
Mhm.
around a few of the same cliques of people. Let's
Mhm.
talk about you and where you started, where you came from, like,
Okay.
because some of my friends, bro,
Right.
like,
Right.
you know.
So my family, all my family, they're from the East Coast.
Okay.
I was the only one born out here.
All right.
So I tell people I'm from Washington State by way of Washington D.C.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
In the seventh, I went to. I'm from Lakewood, Stilichum in Lakewood,
Okay.
and then I moved to University Place. Well, back then it was called Fircrest.
Yes.
I moved to Fircrest in the seventh grade. And then I
Okay.
went to Hunt, and then I went to Wilson. Then with the evergreen up on the hilltop, and then and and that's where I'm at now. So yeah, so quiet as it's kept, I'm from the hilltop, mate.
There it is. Let's go. Let's go.
So look, I do some business with one of the Debashis, and Mr. Debashi was like, aren't you from the hilltop? No, I'm sorry. One of his kids was like, yeah, aren't you from the hill? I was like, you know what, man? Look, I just didn't go home after school. I went to the hilltop every day after school.
Yep.
I mean, every day. I start off on J Street at the Martins.
Yeah.
I'll walk right around the corner to the Quins.
Yep.
On K Street.
Come on.
And I'll just keep it going from there, man. So yeah, I was one of them cats that, and then I go over to the Wilkins house, and then Ruru and them, and and the Gaines, and the Williams. Sheridan was one of my, well, not really my street, but I hung out at the Williams house, Jesse Williams and Ruru's and their neighbor Miss Gaines and all them. Yep. So yeah, I mean, man, I'm from Tacoma, man. I'm from Tacoma. I'm from the entire Pierce County, man. But
Absolutely.
all my love and support, honestly though, has come from my friends and family from the hilltop. I grew up at Allen AME.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
come on, right down the street.
Right down the street, man. That's I grew up at Allen. So that's so just where I'm at. Yeah, I was inspired.
A new J-Cat, by the way. I was always a new J-Cat.
Okay.
I'm at Grad. That's where it all started for me. But shout out to Allen A&M. I've been there a few times in my day.
The mayor was our choir rehearsal. Choir conductor.
Yeah. My second home for a long time. My mom used to take us there.
Okay, so that
for
might be
revival a lot of time. It seemed like we were always there for a revival time.
That might be where I know you from.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I played ball at I played ball at Al Davies and hung out at Al Davies. I was there groundbreaking and the whole nine, man.
Hey, we probably hooped together too.
I'm sure.
I was a hooper back in the day, like heavy.
Yeah. Contrary to belief, I can ball.
Okay. Yeah. I believe you.
No, people say, it's a running joke, that I think I can ball, but people be trying to clown me and shit. But it's all
cute.
I still ball, so I ain't tripping. I still ball.
Hey, and that's what it's about,
Exactly, man. You just do what you think.
Enjoy life.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about the writing. When did you get into actually becoming a writer?
Okay.
Let's talk about that.
Well, my mom wrote 5 books.
Oh, wow.
So it's in my blood. I come from a lineage of storytellers, man. Mm. My mom's mom, Native American, she used to sit on the porch, smoking a pipe and telling stories about yesteryears. Yeah. And so, I've always fancied storytelling. Always. And one way that I was able to release my frustrations is through writing. Mm-hmm. I was actually on the basketball court, my elbows, I used to throw elbows and writing. So that's how I relieved all my frustration, man.
Absolutely.
And so it started off with Ghetto Angels. Every time I talk to some, Ghetto Angels is my baby. That's my first book.
Yeah.
Okay. I hate to say it, man, but everybody loves Ghetto Angels. Everybody loves Ghetto Angels.
Yeah.
Ghetto Angels is about a brother struggling to do right, running the obstacles, but his Ghetto Angels were there to help save him. Mm-hmm. And so I discuss the trials, like I said, the trials and tribulations of a young African American male trying to do right. And, he had people that I refer to as like the slasher was a bully that bullied him, But back in those days, we didn't know what a bully was. A bully wasn't a bully. A bully was just a person that we had to deal with. And sometimes you had to, you had to pick up something next to you. Like my mom would say, you pick up anything around you to deal with this bully so that this bully wouldn't come back the next day and try to take your lunch money.
Yeah.
You understand? Because we had to deal with that. Folks trying to take your lunch money at school.
Right.
And, and so I discussed that. I talk about bullies in the book, and Ghetto Angels. There's a pimp in the book, and he was a Ghetto Angel who saved my life. Mm. I refer to him as Daddy Rich. Yeah. Daddy Rich was There's several Daddy Riches in Tacoma, Seattle. But Daddy, the name itself, Daddy Rich, was a metaphor for those that have actually literally saved my life. Okay, Reginald Taylor, gentleman, saved my life.
Reggie Reg.
Yeah, Reggie Reg. You know, and I also talk about ghetto angels that weren't. You know, I might have gotten beat up, shot at, spit on, left for dead. But out of that, I learned a lot. Okay, I mean, I got in a fight one time, got my butt beat for telling this man's business. Okay, I learned a lot.
Right.
After that situation, 5-6 years, about 10 years later, that we became friends. I look at this dude as my ghetto angel because I keep my mouth shut now.
Right.
We have crackheads in our family, drug users in our family, people that have been to prison, but they still have positive information to share with us. Just because you have been through a lot, or you didn't know how to deal and cope with your own reality, that doesn't make you a bad person. You still have things to positive things to share with your family, and so that's pretty much what Ghetto Angels is. It's more than just one person trying to help save a young man. It's a lot of different how can I say, stories involved to bring up that person. It's a community thing. It's a community thing.
So let's talk about this is your second book. Oh no, that's your first book.
First book's Ghetto Angels.
Ghetto Angels, and then the second one is called
Second book is called Cobwebbed Eyes, which is my favorite one. Cobwebbed Eyes. Yeah.
How really quick before we move on, how can they get contact with your books? How can they read your books?
Online. You can get them online. Okay. You go to Amazon.com. They have them there. You can go to Goodreads as well.
Okay.
You can even download the audio versions of them. So they're all online.
Cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll make sure you guys get the information at the end of the show. I'll make sure I put it in the comments for you guys. If you guys want to check out his books, they'll be available. Like you said, they're on Amazon, Goodreads. You can find them online. Just look them up.
Appreciate it.
But let's talk about. There was something else that I wanted to discuss with you.
Trauma. Trauma.
Let's talk about trauma and how we deal with it.
Yeah.
When we're going through situations like this. Like what is a method that you may use to deal with the trauma that may come your way?
Right. Okay. So by night I'm a writer. By day, I'm a clinical therapist, or I should say a behavioral health therapist. One way that I try to help my clients with dealing with trauma is through motivational interviewing. So when a person is sitting in front of me and they're talking about trauma, I like to bring out their own strengths to help them deal with their own reality. Okay, because I don't know everything. I don't have all the know-how. I may know some tools on how to assist you, but I don't have all the answers.
Right.
Okay. We get our answers from our elders and from our spiritual advisors, our parents, our ghetto angels. But one way, like I said, that I use is called motivational interviewing, where you actually help the person pull out their own strength. So what strength do you possess that helped you achieve a goal that you accomplished, or helped you get through tough times? And once we get that information from them, or once I get the information from them, then I ask them to use that to help them deal and cope with their reality as far as this trauma is concerned. And I'm getting to know Christ Jesus today, and I wasn't always in. I was raised at Allen, but I wasn't raised in the Bible. Okay. There's a difference. Okay. I was raised in the church, but I wasn't raised reading the Bible. And so today I'm learning that we really can call upon our elders, call upon the folks that have passed away You go to your private place and you pray to them and you ask them for strength in these areas where we're struggling at.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's that. And then so I have the privilege to discuss my own upbringing in church and things like that with my clients, because they trust that I won't use my religion against my own clients. So I have the opportunity to discuss that with them, and even if they're atheists, amen. I respect them. I encourage them to still call upon their elders, call upon that they folks that have been there in the corner and their corners for them during tough times. You have to have somebody that you can call upon, man.
That's
I have a buddy that I hit up about once every 5 years or so. I call him. I be like, hey man, guess what? But I need you to pray with me right now. So I'm struggling, you
yeah,
know. And I really do that. And I just encourage folks to do it. You got to have somebody in your circle.
absolutely. I
And
think
just briefly, a lot of folks turn to substances to deal and cope with their own trauma. You see, and we have to learn how to focus more so on our mental health stability versus bringing in a substance that's going to create more trauma in your mind.
absolutely. That's a great point too, and I want to just piggyback on that because I know plenty of people. I've had plenty of conversations.
Mm-hmm.
I may not be a behavioral therapist.
Mm-hmm.
I may not have my degree on that yet,
Come on.
but I promise you, it seems like every day I'm talking to my friends and they're sharing
Good.
their moments
Mm-hmm.
of struggles and strain,
Right.
and a lot of times you will hear them. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I had a horrible day today. I just want to go get a drink.
Yeah. Right. Or smoke.
Whoa, whoa,
Whatever.
pump your brakes, pump your
Mm-hmm.
brakes.
Yeah.
What is that going to accomplish?
Right.
You're going to have one drink, then you're going to have another, then you're going
Mm-hmm.
to have another, then you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have another. And
Right.
then 9 out of 10 times, once you get enough drinks in your system, it doesn't go from level 7. It goes to a level 11, and you're like,
Right.
you're in a worse position than you
Then you
was.
was
You
exactly.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like, it's like never. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
anything, the best way, and I don't know the best way, but for everyone, but I know for me,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the best way to deal with the situations that I go through is exactly like we're doing now.
Excuse me. Uh-huh.
Talk it out.
Mm-hmm.
Saying a lot of that you'll figure out your own conclusions. Sometimes you'll figure out how to deal with your own frustrations by talking about it, letting it
Yes.
out.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You don't
Mm-hmm.
necessarily need somebody to give you the answers. After
Right.
you have that conversation, you're like, oh shoot,
Mm-hmm.
I just answered my own question a lot of
Right.
times.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all you really need is just somebody to listen. You
Right.
know, I
Yeah.
mean,
Exactly.
and to me, that's I think some of the best advice is, you know,
Mm-hmm.
listen to somebody and listen to yourself. And if
Right.
it doesn't work, turn on some music.
Right.
Music therapy
Yeah.
it's been proven to be one
Mm-hmm.
of the best therapies out there. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the best, but it's been proven that
Yeah.
it works.
Right. Right.
Throw on one of your favorite songs or
Yep.
two.
Mm-hmm.
Cry. Don't be afraid to cry about
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Shed
Yeah.
those tears.
Right. I use art. I use art in my therapy as well too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
take advantage of what's around you, what's in
Right.
front of you, what's in your phone. Your
Yeah.
friends that truly have always told you that they would be there for you. Maybe just
Right.
just
Hold them accountable.
yeah, why don't you just send them a message, say, "Hey, are you available? I
Right.
need someone to talk to."
Mm-hmm.
If it's a true person that really loves and cares about you, they're going to be like, how can I help you? What do you need? Do I need to
Right.
come by? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
go grab something to eat? You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's sometimes that's better than,
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm so pissed off right now. I got to go get me a drink,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I'm not going to be like, okay, let's go get a drink together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be like, wait, let's talk about it.
Right.
What happened?
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try and talk you down because I know how you get when you get those drinks in your system. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Exactly. Yep.
you know what I mean.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's always proven that
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a good conversation will heal a lot of the frustrations inside,
Right.
at least get us in a better position than we
Yeah.
are. So,
Exactly, man. You hit it. Yeah.
you know,
Now you had mentioned. I don't want to change the subject too much,
no,
but
you're good. You're good.
you had mentioned about what Christmas means to me,
Absolutely.
and we're talking about a lot of nothing. We're talking about it's not negative. We're just talking about a lot of serious things right now.
Right.
But I want to share real quick because I'm not even sure how long we're gonna be on here. But growing up, we always didn't. My mom and dad, they did good for themselves. As I got older. But
Mhm.
when we were kids, my mom made all of our clothes. We got
Wow.
all of our clothes from our neighbors. My mom would cut off pants from one pair of pants and put them on the bottom of the other pair of pants to make them longer, things like that.
Mhm.
My mom, every year for Christmas, my mom would actually, throughout the year, my mom would get all the toys that we weren't playing with, and she
Mhm.
would take them from us and hide them.
Mhm.
So we'd be like, "Where's my toy?" She's like, "I don't know what y'all did with the toys." The next year for Christmas, she would have those. She would rewrap all those same toys when we didn't have any money.
And give them back to you as a
Give them
gift.
right back. I didn't know, man, until I was like 40 years old. She was doing that.
Crazy. That's
Isn't that
crazy.
something? So when you said, "What does Christmas mean to you?" Man, it's just joy and happiness, from my mom. And the other part of that was when I started having kids. I got four.
Mhm.
I was too black, too strong. In the '90s, I wasn't trying to celebrate Christmas.
Right.
And I told my mom, I said, "Hey, man, we ain't gonna do that at my house. We are not gonna be celebrating no Christmas. These kids are not gonna be thinking some fat white dude's gonna be bringing them presents." My
Right.
mama told me. She said, "Look, we didn't hold that back from you. Don't you hold that back from your kids. When they get older, if they don't want to do Christmas, that's fine. But grandma's house, we're gonna do Christmas."
Mhm.
And
That's
I just want to, again, just give my mama a shout out just for making
absolutely.
Christmas, what it is. And if I had a chance, man, my daughter is out in the living room right now wrapping up Christmas presents right now.
That's
And
awesome.
so it's a blessing, man. It's just a blessing.
Absolutely. I need to do some wrapping. I got a ton of presents
Mm-hmm.
on my table right now that need
Mm-hmm.
need wrapping. If your
Yeah.
daughter needs some work, I got plenty of it over here.
Hey, look, guess what? I'll give a shout out to Fatima. What's Fatima's last name? The young lady I know on Facebook, man. She
What is
put it on
Fatima?
Facebook. Fatima?
I know Fatima.
Come on now.
Shout out to the
Look, hey,
homie.
guess
Yeah.
what? Fatima, my man said he needs somebody to wrap his presents. She said on Facebook, you can pay her $25 an hour and she'll come over and wrap your presents. So
She did.
this she sure did.
That's
So,
my homegirl, man.
yeah.
Know
Fatima's
me
cool.
well.
Yeah.
I've been in her life for umpteen years. That's
Yeah,
my
she's a good person, man.
shout out to
Sweetheart. Yeah. So
so
David, tell us about you, brother. I mean, it's not
about
all
me.
about me.
I
Tell us
mean,
about you. How'd you come to the point where you want to do things like this in your community, interview folks and things like that? How'd you get to this point?
a lot of people know my story because this whole ordeal was written because of my story. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I won't go too in depth on it.
Mm-hmm.
We can obviously have a conversation about it um, another time, but for the most part, I was a brother that was born and raised in the church. I believed in God for a very, very long time. I still believe in God. God has always been a part of my life, but as far as living, eating, sleeping, breathing, walking, talking God, I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that guy. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I
Me
was
either.
I was always, we're all sinners. We all backslide. And
Exactly.
I slid a lot,
Mm-hmm.
music was a big thing for me. And I did
Mm-hmm.
music for a long time.
Okay.
I, from high school, I was in a band called Schoolboys and we
Okay.
were really good. After
Mm-hmm.
high school, I got into another group called Unique. And I was, performing with them and, I enjoyed that. I had plenty of opportunities, to perform all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that lasted probably 6, 7 years. After that, I decided to do it on my own,
Okay.
and I started singing by myself in 2005. And it was the best time of my life from 2005 to 2010. I performed and did 3 albums and
Oh wow. Okay.
a lot of money and sold
Okay. Go ahead.
a lot of merch, and
Mm.
it was a great time in my life, as
Good.
far as music went. But I got to a place where I was doing it for the wrong reasons, and
Mm.
so Um,
That happens.
35, I decided to stop doing music
Mm. Mm.
and try and focus more on my career, getting my degree, and
Good.
taking care of my family, bro. Like
Good.
music made me into somebody that wasn't healthy for
Mm.
a family, and I have
Okay.
a family, and so
Mm.
I'm still working on that till this day, trying to
Mm.
fix and mend those relationships
Okay.
that I broke back then. And so,
Mm. Yeah.
I got to a point in 2018 where I was frustrated with life and
Mm.
thought about committing suicide. And,
Mm.
I just couldn't figure out. I just couldn't figure it out. Everything was a
Mm.
hot mess in my life, and so I went to this lake out there in Lakewood,
Mm.
and there's this little overlook where people usually fish at.
Brother, I told you I'm from Stoughton, Tacoma. I mean,
You
in
know
Lakewood.
exactly
I
what
know
I'm talking about.
Stoughton Lake. I know what you're talking about.
You know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I
Yeah.
went there, and it
Yeah.
was 8:30 at night, and I
Mm.
went to jump in,
Mm.
and I had a coming to God moment right
Oh,
there,
good. Well, good.
and he talked to me and told me I needed to change my life, change my
Hmm.
direction, and listen to him
Right.
because he's been there the whole time.
Good. That's good to hear, man.
That moment, I've been kind of doing this. I've been, doing, a lot of things in the community, just trying to be a better version of myself each and every
That's
day I
good,
walk on this earth. And
man.
it started off with just having meetings with brothers and
Mm.
and just trying to find a circle of friends that wanted to do more, be better, and
Mm.
follow him. And it became this after being interviewed a few times.
Mm.
My good friend interviewed me, and I was like, bro, like, I really love what you're doing. I want to do the same thing.
Mm.
And so I created my podcast 3 years ago.
Mm.
Well, it will be 3 years. January 8th. It'll be 3 years I've been doing this. And I always wanted to help people and put people's their stories out, because I mean, we see all these amazing people doing amazing things
Yeah.
online, or we go to these events and we see those people on stages
Yeah.
speaking their truth and sharing their truth. uh,
Yeah.
but I wanted to create a platform specifically for those people and
Man.
learn their stories,
Right. Right.
the dark moments, and how they made it through the dark moments, because I
Mm.
was there. I was a brother that had a lot of dark moments growing up,
Yeah. Yeah.
and to know how I made it and to be able to share it in hopes that it changes somebody's life is
Mm.
what I live for.
Wow. Amazing.
And so, I mean,
Sounds
that's
good.
a
Yeah, man.
condensed version of
Right.
David and Circle Talk.
I
So,
hear you.
yeah,
Well, thanks for
so
sharing, man. See,
man.
look, a little information. I played the cello
Yeah,
growing up,
yeah,
stand-up
yeah.
bass guitar,
Nice.
and the drums.
So you do all that.
I used to. I ain't touching that damn one of them in years.
We need to make a band. That's what I was about to
That's what I'm
say.
saying. We need to. We definitely need to. Yep.
Shout out to the people that are still watching really quick. I'll go ahead and say hello to a few of our friends. We got John in the building. We got Rebecca. Thank you for showing up. GSL. Shout out to y'all for tuning in and being part of this. Shout out to my boys out there. Grown Sexy Lit. Marvin Patterson, our shot is in the building. Thank you so much, brother, for tuning in. And everyone else, if you guys have any questions, please. We got about 10 more minutes and we up out of here. So make sure you guys send those questions in. If you have questions for me or my brother Robert, go ahead and drop those. If not, we just going to continue conversating about the good and the bad of Christmas time.
All right.
But so let's talk about your 2023. When someone asks you how was your year,
Hmm.
what would you say to sum it up in a nutshell? The
In a
year,
nutshell, wow.
how was it? How was
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I would have to go back to 2017 when I almost died.
it?
So I have I don't claim my illness because I put all my fears into the Lord.
Yeah.
But I was diagnosed with it's called ulcerative colitis.
Mhm.
Similar to it's almost like Crohn's. So Crohn's, I think Crohn's is through your entire intestines. The illness that I was diagnosed with, it's in sections.
Mhm.
Okay. And so I almost died, man. I went all the way down to 128 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I was all the way down to 128 pounds. They were talking about taking my organs and stuff out. And I was like, God didn't bring me this far for y'all to be talking about what y'all think you're going to do.
Right.
So
Right.
that, and so I turned to God and I was like, come on, God, we didn't come here for this. And he saved me.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I I moved back to Washington, D.C. In 2008, right after the crash.
Mhm.
And so I picked up the phone. I was like, Mom, I'm thinking about going to California, Atlanta, or DC.
Mhm.
And I just don't know which one to do. And she was like, come on out here to DC. So I did. I went back to DC. I've been back and forth from DC ever since I was a kid. But this
Yeah.
time I went back in 2018. I stayed until, I'm sorry, I went down 2008 and I stayed until 2018. Right before I got sick, all my kids ended up moving back to Tacoma from Washington, or from Maryland.
Mhm.
And so I was just out there kicking it, man, having a good old time.
Yeah.
Uh, and the good old time, it just, I was running the streets, brother, and it was just too much. And my body wore down and the illness kicked in and I almost died. Nevertheless, when I moved back, um, I'm healthy now, healthy as an ox, and I'm thankful to be around my children again and to be in their lives
Mhm.
and to be working back into the community and doing the
Yeah.
things that I enjoy doing. I mean, I hopped around for a couple of jobs, but now I'm out in Seattle. I'm working at one of the little tiny homes, and I'm able to work with the homeless folks and help them understand uh, that the trials and tribulations that they're going through, it will be greater later. And I tried. My job is to help. Well, see, it's called housing first. Let me just back up. So, housing first model is you just get folks housed. Okay, so you
Yeah.
get people off the street, you get them into a tiny home village. All
Mhm.
right, and now you try to figure out: A, are they homeless because they have a mental illness, or B, are they homeless because of their drug and alcohol issue?
Yeah.
And so it's almost like what came first, the egg or the chicken? We still ain't figured it out.
Right.
But but when people are experiencing a psychosis, I'm there to help navigate them through that. My background is actually in substance use. I have a master's in addictions counseling from Coppin State. Woo woo.
Shout out to Comp.
HBCU, come on.
Let's go. Let's
Out in
go.
Baltimore, yeah. So I went to school in Baltimore. I got my master's out at Coppin, and so it's in addictions counseling. But I've been working in the mental health field for probably a little over 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, how important has your degree been to what you do today? Like, working in the tiny homes with these people, the
Right.
conversations that you have. How often do you use your degree
Uh-huh.
to deal with and talk and kind of maneuver into the conversations with these people that are going through the hardships that they're going through?
Right. Well, it's almost like a threefold situation that I experienced at work. Um, 80s and 90s, growing up, 80s and 90s, when the crack epidemic hit Tacoma and the gangs from LA came in Tacoma, my mom and dad kicked me out and they actually sent me to back home to DC.
Mhm.
It was worse. It was literally worse. So just my experience of work of being in an environment where drug addiction runs rampant or was running rampant,
Mhm.
and then adding those experiences to the information that I learned in the books at school has provided me the opportunity to do what I do.
Absolutely.
Okay, because you can't just walk into a homeless encampment and expect folks to just understand where you're coming from, or you understand where they're coming from if you don't have that experience yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, you don't necessarily have to have uh, the addiction piece as it pertains to what they're experiencing now, the blues, the heroin, the clear, the crank, I mean the meth and all that. But
Yeah.
but you have the opportunity to have learned from your ghetto angels that are around you that were experiencing substance use addictions. You see, and so um, that those two parts have assisted me in sustaining a position as a behavioral health specialist. But the master's degree itself
Mhm.
is a blessing, brother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because like I said, um, I was the misdemeanor king.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
rap sheet like this, 3 feet long.
Yeah.
Okay, I ain't been in trouble, since I don't know, God knows, man, over a decade and a half or 2 decades.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, that criminal background is still on your record. And so, what I try to tell people is, man, if you don't have the ability to start your own business, or if you don't have the wherewithal to know how to start your own business, the education piece is right there. Education is not free. I mean, I owe a lot of money in student loans,
Right.
but the experience that I've experienced in the classroom, the debates, talking with other people that aren't the same color as you, getting to know people, learning from their experience and bringing your experiences to the table. All of these things, in addition to what you learn from the professors in the book, you know, uh, quantify you as being the behavioral health specialist that you have become, or the social worker that you become, or the substance use therapist or counselor that you become. So it's like a threefold type of answer that I would have to give, because I'm I'm huge on education, huge. Because like I was raised in the family. My mom just raised us that way. Uh, our parents, they were under the assumption that if you didn't have a degree, you wouldn't make it. So we were raised that way. Nowadays, the experience of having a master's degree in education is one thing, but if you do have the wherewithal to start your own business, then you can be just as successful. I mean, I have a detailing business. I have a moving company. Um, and I also do parties and event planning. And so no, I didn't learn any of that at school, but just the wherewithal of what I learned in the classroom has provided me the opportunity to go out and seek, uh, the wherewithal to start my own business. Yo, what happened, my brother? Oh, I guess we're done. We are done. I guess. Well,
Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry about that. Y'all still there?
I'm
Can you hear me?
still. I can hear you.
Okay, sheesh, man. Sorry about that. I had a little
Mm-hmm.
glitch in the system.
It's all
It's
good.
getting kind of breezy out there, so I do apologize.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, you was talking about um, just gosh, where were you at when
I forget where we was cut off at.
I'm trying to think of exactly where you were at when you cut off. I think
Mm.
you was talking about you had said something about your rap sheet being really long,
Oh, okay.
and you were a big you're big on education.
Right.
And what I wanted to say, because I wanted to piggyback on that too. I have four brothers. One of them was my half brother, and for me, like, you know, my parents both have multiple degrees. They've done all
Mm,
that stuff,
mm,
but like you said, it was never really pushed on us as
mm,
much as it should have been.
mm,
Uh, and so for me, I took the initiative and went to school. Uh, got I graduated from Stadium High School,
mm,
went to TCC and got 2 years in there,
mm,
and then I stopped going, and I didn't go to school for 15 years, almost
mhm,
20 years. I didn't go to school, and then some a light went off on me, and I said, I
mm,
do need this education. So I
mhm.
went back to school, and I'm just like you. I owe thousands of dollars
Yeah,
after I, finished my
hundreds.
degree.
Mhm.
But the how I felt when I walked down that aisle,
Yes, yes. Preach, brother.
You know, it was a feeling like no other, and
Yeah.
it was so much. It was so nice because number one, my mom didn't make it to see me graduate from high
Mm.
school because she had to work. She couldn't get the
Mm-hmm.
day off. My mom's was there watching me graduate from college, and you know, I always wanted her to be there because my my dad came to me see me graduate from high
Mm-hmm.
school, but he didn't even stay. He ended up
Oh.
leaving after like 10,
uh,
15 minutes. He ended up leaving. So he didn't even get to see me walk.
mm.
And I know my mom would never do that. So it was one of the
Oh, that's what's up.
biggest feelings in the world to know that
Yeah.
I went through all the hardships of writing papers and essays
Man.
and
Come on, man.
up in
Whew.
class and, you know, doing all these
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint presentations.
Yep. Oh, got a glitch again. Well, if we are on still, I would mention uh while when I was sick, I was actually still in school. So I was going to school sick as a dog, brother. I mean, sick. There's a glitch.
Oh, okay. So this is the deal, guys. I do apologize for the inconvenience. Can you hear me now? Oh, okay. So this is the deal, guys. Okay, I do apologize for the inconvenience.
You there?
Can you hear me, Robert?
I can hear you.
Okay, so let's do this, brother.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what's going on. I haven't moved a muscle.
Okay.
Obviously, my box is right there, so I don't know what's happening with the connection. But what I want to do is just have you um, give us your thoughts on what we can look forward to coming from you
Oh,
moving into 2024. What is
all
something that we
right.
look forward to? Are you
Um,
writing a new book, or
brother, I'm writing a new book.
like let's get into
Yes,
it. Talk,
sir.
talk to us about it real quick.
All right. So, um, man. So the book that I'm writing, it's I think it's gonna be called His Story. I think, but the book actually takes place during Juneteenth.
Oh,
Yeah, imagine that.
right.
And I'm trying to show the dichotomy between sports during slavery and sports today as well. That's one of the things that I'm trying to show. So, the it's a lot that goes into the story, but I'm showing where boxing not originated from, but I show how athletes were used to make money for plantation owners uh, by way of boxing. And I also show how slaves won the first 28 Kentucky Derbies in horse racing.
That's
As
interesting.
I told you before, I'm a storyteller, so I'm putting all this in a story, a
Yeah.
fictional story. Okay, and like I said, it's taking place during the Civil War, during the Emancipation Proclamation, and during Juneteenth. But the story itself, it's being told through the eyes of a young man who actually thinks he's still enslaved, brother.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is a little tidbit or not tidbit. This is a little information I'm sharing with the reader. I mean, with our audience today. But
Yeah.
while you're reading the story, you're not going to know that the guys are already free
Hmm.
because that's what Juneteenth is about. These
Yeah.
guys were still enslaved for 2 years. Well, they say they were only enslaved for 2 years, but these guys they were enslaved all the way up to uh, the Great Depression.
Right.
I mean, during like about I would say the 1920s, and they still have folks that were enslaved. They didn't even know that they were free.
Mm.
But nevertheless, Juneteenth is a holiday now, and so I'm trying to show where that originates from. And I had a side note. Two friends of mine. I told folks, writing a book about slavery. One guy said, "You can't write no book about slavery." I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna show you." And another guy said, "Hey man, don't you gotta do a lot of investigative reporting and a lot of you have to study and research a lot about slavery?" I was like, "Brother, yeah, I've been researching slavery since Roots.
Yeah.
Seriously, I've been the only reason why I haven't finished writing this book, because I started writing this book back in the late '90s. I started writing it, and then somebody stole my computer, and it was on there, and I just lost track. I just said, forget, I'm not gonna finish it. But the only reason why I never went back to writing this book is because I was working in the community, and I wanted to shed light on how we can uplift each other in the community today versus what was going on back then. But now I really have to show why folks like sports so much and where it originates from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm
Excuse me. I also shed light on indigenous natives, indigenous Africans, enslaved Africans, and enslaved. What we were calling them? The white folks that were enslaved. They were called. It escapes me now, but I even talk about how they enslaved their own people as well.
interesting.
Classism and the whole nine, man. So yeah, it's a hard ride. It's a hard book to write because it's very depressing when I'm writing it.
Yeah.
Very depressing, brother.
Well,
But nevertheless, I'm gonna get it done.
I'm excited, man, to
Appreciate it.
read all of
Appreciate
them.
it.
Actually,
Appreciate it, man.
again, explain to the people where they can go and find your books if
Okay.
they want to check them out.
All right. So my first book is called Ghetto Angels. The
Mhm.
second book's called Cobwebbed Eyes. You can find both of them on Amazon.com as well as Goodreads, and you can do Audible books as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, I thank you for the conversation, man.
Yeah, man. This has been
There was
this has
so
been a
much
blessing.
There's so much more that we had talked about discussing,
Yeah.
and we will definitely do it again.
All right.
Again, obviously, we'll revisit what we talked about, and then continue on a couple of the bullet points that I had written
Okay.
down for us to discuss, because
Appreciate it.
time flew by like that.
It sure did. I appreciate the time, man. I really appreciate the
Absolutely.
time, man. And I applaud you for what you're doing in the community, and just keep on doing what you do, man.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. I appreciate you as well.
All
And
right
keep
now.
on doing what you do, man,
I
because
appreciate it. I
we need,
will.
we're needed,
Exactly. Yeah.
we just have
God
to
is
make
good.
a voice, and
Right.
not listen to the outside noise, because there's plenty of it.
Right.
So,
Right.
so real quick, guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today here at Circle Talk. Tomorrow, I'm going to be with another good friend of mine that I've actually worked these streets with, and served uh, dinners to plenty of homeless people with. This young lady, she's an amazing cook, amazing mother. She's actually in charge of the water store downtown Tacoma. Her name is Jennifer Helens Kiana. We're going to have her on tomorrow to talk about, what she's been up to and how important her holiday season is going to be for her and her daughter. And we're going to touch on something that's really, been having an effect on her, her mental health, with something that we discussed today, losing a loved one. She lost her husband a couple of years ago, and we're going to talk about it tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow for another version of Circle Talk. Also, please, if you guys are free, I know everybody has Christmas Eve on Sunday, but at 4 p.m. Pacific time, we are going to be doing our Circle Talk Awards 4 p.m. Please make sure you guys, if you have some time, listen up, check it out. I'm going to be giving away some awards to some amazing people, amazing organizations that have done so much well-deserved and well-needed work in our community. I'm going to be giving them, their flowers in the form of something from me and my group here at Circle Talk. So if you guys get some free time, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, make sure you guys tune in for the Circle Talk Awards. It's going down 4 p.m. Sunday. Thank you guys so much for viewing. We will catch you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. with my girl Jennifer, my homegirl Jennifer. Okay? Y'all have a blessed evening. Peace. Love you.
Through thick and thin, the ups and downs.